Hey, Del Jackson here. Another Zoom. Here we are. We're back to the LL tonight. We've got Coach Tommy Smith. Uh, Tommy Smith and I personally go back a long, long time. We're going to talk a little bit about that, about his progression in the program. And Andy's been covering him for a long time, and he's always one of our favorite interviews after a game, win or loss. He always has time for us. And I know being in Lebanon, he's got kind of like the media cavalcade up there. They all follow him around, and we try to get a question in here or there. So, and we always wait our turn, and we get some really good stuff at the end if we wait our turn well. So we'll talk to Coach Smith. And what I want to do, Coach, is just tell us a little bit about your background. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I know that you've kind of come up through the ranks. So if you can give us kind of your coaching career through the ranks at Crest, that'd be a good start for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, truly started, Coach Dissinger needed a sixth grade coach. I just graduated from college. So, he said something to me and a buddy of mine that we were actually coaching football at Cedar Crest. I asked him to come along. So we were the sixth grade travel coach my first year. Next year, they needed a freshman coach. I jumped up to become the freshman coach, and it kind of, Dell, that's when you and I started to knock heads a little bit. And, from there, Coach Dissinger then retired from coaching, and Dee Bosser was hired and brought me on to be the varsity assistant. He lasted 2 years, and then, then it was my turn, and can't believe it was 10 years ago already, 10 seasons in. Time flies. But, yeah, so that was kind of my come up at Cedar Crest.
That's nice. Have you been with a school teaching all that time as well?
No. When I graduated in December, January, I started teaching actually at Harrisburg High. Taught there for about a year. Then I taught in the Lebanon City School District for about 3, and then I've been at Cedar Crest ever since.
Nice. Okay. All right. I know following you from when you and I kind of talked to each other, and we always had some good chit chats. I mean, sometimes a pregame coach is what it is, you're nice and everything, but I always felt we had a really good connection. And then as I watched your program grow, I mean, when you first took over, let's put it the way it is. Cedar Crest wasn't at the top of the dog. And you really kind of built it up. So what was your thought process when you took the job, and how have you adjusted as you are where you're at right now, coming off a league championship?
So the first thing I did was I hired a staff that we had common goals and common thoughts. And, we really just instituted our culture, what we believed in. And, the one thing, my grandfather, longtime football coach, and the one thing he told me, he said, hey, win or lose, you're going to want to do it your way, because if you're losing, you don't want to say, I wish I would have done it like I wanted to do it. So that was one of the things, just instituted a culture of, believing in ourselves, believing in each other, making winning a priority, but not necessarily, win at all costs, embrace the grind to get to there. And, truly, my first season we won 4 games. My second season we won 6. But really, it's really when the tide changed. The kids started to believe in what we were selling, and the ball started rolling. The expectations are the same every year, and the one thing we talk about all the time is we don't lower the bar. We're gonna do what it takes for us to meet the expectations that we put on. And honestly, it was our first year. The expectations haven't changed. And we just got buy-in from our kids, and just the culture that we've created here, and people want to be a part of it, which is also, it's infectious. Teachers, administrators, community members, I think they like the product that they see, and everyone wants to be part of Falcon basketball, which is a great thing right now.
Yeah, let me ask you this from an X and O point of view. I mean, when we watch you guys, you got that dribble drive. Was that part of you from the beginning, or did you pick that up after you started coaching for a while?
We instituted it my second year. So I got hired late my first year, and we So we had a traditional 3-out, 2-in, something that, the staff was comfortable with. And I'll be honest with you, where we really got the dribble drive from was McCaskey was the top dog in Section 1 in the league for the longest time. And, my goal when I got hired was, I want to compete with McCaskey. That's what I want to do. I want to be McCaskey. I want to compete with them. And that year we went and watched Anvil Cleona, and Mark Lineball was the head coach at the time, and they ran the dribble drive, and they gave McCaskey everything they could get. And I remember as soon as Mark was done, I gave him a call, and I said, hey, I want to sit down. I want you to teach me this. I want to go. And ever since then, something I believe in wholeheartedly. And we've tweaked some things here and there, but that was kind of the birth of our dribble drive, and I think we've just been successful with it. And again, we run it all the way down through 6th grade. We start teaching some of the concepts, and it's been good to us.
Nice. Mark Lineball. That's a good coaching tree there, brother. Hey,
yes, sir.
I'm gonna turn it over to Andy here. I'm gonna let him talk. He's seen you play multiple times and has a really good connection. Go ahead, Andy.
Tommy Smith, my man.
What's going on?
Hey, I just want to ask you about last year. It was kind of atypical in a sense, and when I look at your guys' season, I go back to that latter half. You beat your rival on your home floor to win the section. Then your next game out, you lose by, like 20 or something at Township. You get them in the district playoffs, and then from that point on, it could have gone one of two directions. But you right the ship. You get back to Township like a week and a half later to win the league. Then you go up to Wilson, and I was there that night. The line to get in was out the door. It was nuts. And you guys gave it everything you had, but just going back in the locker room to, get our quotes and stuff and be part of that media gaggle, as the guys were leaving the locker room, I could just tell, like, whatever gas they had in the tank, it looked like that was it. And I think that league championship game was the last win you guys had all year. I mean, when you guys win big, when you win, you usually win big. Like, you go to Township 4 years in a row for the league championship. You're in Hershey 2 years in a row. You're giving the Penn State Nittany Lions all they can handle in the state playoffs. But this year you only really won the section in the league. I mean, as an outsider, did it feel like a weird year to you in that sense, where you only got one of those two big fish that you normally get like 2 or 3 or something more?
Yeah. I'll be well, first off, let me say, you look great in blue and gray, man. You should wear it more. I'm just saying.
Makes my eyes pop.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know what? Going into the season, I knew that we were super talented. We had, with what we were bringing back, were we going to be able to mesh it? Were we going to be able to, everyone play together and do the things that Cedar Crest basketball has been known to do? That was my biggest, concern going into this season. And, sure enough, I think we rattled off 11 in a row to start, won some close ones, just figure out ways to win. And at that point in time, I knew we had something special. McCaskey got us down there in their home court, and then, we had a group of seniors who wanted to go out, with a league championship, a section championship. And, those first two things are our goals every year. If we're competing in Section 1, we're going to be pretty good in districts. Everything's going to take care of itself. And we get into the league playoffs, and this year I thought, holy hell, going into the leagues. You had so many teams that had a possibility of winning. Honestly, in my years of doing it, and qualifying for that, you pick out your 1 or 2 teams that you think, these guys could put a really good run together. And there were any number of teams this year I thought that could really, put a run together and win that thing. And, we get that win. So we beat McCaskey, win the section. And then we go down and just absolutely lay an egg at Township. And not to take anything away from them, because they were playing awesome basketball at that time. They took it to us. So it was one of those things where, that was a gut check time for us, because like you said, Andy, we could have went 1 or 2 ways from that point on. Were they satisfied with winning the section, or were they still hungry to go out and get some of our other goals? And, having the group of seniors, they rallied the troops. We rallied, and, we put a good run through the league playoffs, and, just to get right back to Township and finish off what we started. But, it was different in that sense where, one of the things too, I think the first 2 times we won the league, you could say that maybe going into the league, we were probably favored going into the season. We may have been favored those 2 years. I don't think we were this year. I don't think that anyone was talking about, hey, Cedar Crest is the team to beat in the league, especially with the likes of, Lancaster Catholic, with what they were putting out there. So, it was different in that sense. And then, the Central Dolphin win might have been our biggest win all season. What an incredible game, back and forth, and having that third quarter where we were able to shut them out. And, it was just a remarkable win for us. And then again, going down playing number 5 team in the state and run for their money. It was awesome, and it was a lot of fun. So, would have I loved to got back to Hershey with that win against Wilson? Absolutely. But you're right. My guys left it all in the tank, and they did it every single night. And it was such a fun year in that sense. But, a little different than other years. Way more, way more enjoyable 2 weeks after it was all said and done. Went out to Pittsburgh and got our butt kicked. That left a bad taste in my mouth. But, when I'm able to sit back right now and talk with you guys and reflect on it, what a special season. Super excited for my guys who were able to just experience those things that they're able to experience this year.
You had an athletic freak play for you this year, and he's just another one of these guys that you've had really come along. You've coached the GOAT, you've coached the little GOAT. I'm not asking you to rank players because I know coaches don't like doing that, but like, where does he kind of fit into that whole run of Cedar Crest's players? I mean, when I'm thinking of 33 and 4, they were more of get on my back, I'll take us home. But with O'Leary, where does he kind of fit into that? What was his role in that upper echelon of Falcon hoops of the last decade or so?
I mean, God, it's hard to compare, honestly. But the one thing I would say that there's never been an athlete to come into our gym like him. And I'm talking opponents and, with his skill set. His best basketball is ahead of him. The sky's the limit for him. He's still very raw. And, he's going to be playing some big time basketball in 2 years. And, some of the stuff that he's done, it was just, when we go back and watch it on film, we're like, geez, holy world. But, just different than the other 2 guys that we talked about. 33 is special. I've never met a competitor. I'm watching the Last Dance, and I'm Michael Jordan and Evan Horn have a lot in common. Let me just tell you that, the way that they compete. And, and Logan wasn't too far behind with what he did for us too. But funny story about Evan. You guys will appreciate this. Again, my grandfather, longtime coach and does his thing. He comes to watch Evan as a freshman in maybe the first or second practices. And he says to me, calls me after practice, and he doesn't usually give me too much. If I ask him, he tells me, but he doesn't offer up a lot. And he calls me after practice and he goes, Tommy, he's like, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, hey, what's up, Pat? What's going on? And he said, do me a favor. Don't mess up 33. Just make sure he knows what time the bus leaves. And that might have been the best quote I've ever had. Any coaching advice from my grandfather. But yeah, what a special kid. And I'll be honest with you. You mentioned the 3 of them. I've had just a great run of kids coming through here. Coaches are overrated. I think Coach Perez said that maybe. Listen, half of it is don't mess these kids up, man. Put them out there in a position and let them play. Let them go do their thing. And, year in and year out, from Andrew Udy to, Josh Bucher, Evan Horn, Logan Horn, Blake Thompson, Cole Laney, you name it. Cedar Crest has had some dudes, man, the last couple of years. So, it's my job to put them into position to be successful and let them do what they do. Let them do what they've done their entire life. And, again, that was one of the things that we were able to do this year with the guys I had, Eberhardt and O'Leary. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, we've had some dudes, man, and it's been a heck of a lot of fun, man. They've taken me for some rides that I don't know when I took over this job that I had those goals, I had those visions. Didn't know that I'd get there, but these guys have taken me for some rides, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Hey, I got a couple more for you, but actually what everything you just said kind of rolls up into Dell's opening statement and everything. And I know this is a question you've probably gotten asked a million times, but I'm going to be 1,000,001. This is going to be a unique setting because you're not in the glow of a victory or anything like that. And we've all had to really stop and slow down because that's what life is making us do now. But have you really, truly appreciated what you have built over this last decade, you and everybody on your staff? Because, I mean, yeah, Cedar Crest wasn't like a nuclear wasteland or anything like that, but it's never been as good as it is now. Seriously, if you step back and said, like, wow, like we're really doing this.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know that I've done after the seasons. I've reflected and man, been like, man, what an awesome thing. But as far as my career, I'm not done yet. I still got some some gas in the tank, and I'm as motivated as ever. And so have I looked at my accomplishments or what we've done? Not really, because I'm not finished yet. I'm not. So, I think the time, and I tell my athletes this, and I'd be hypocritical, if I'd be satisfied with kind of what I've done, I'm not going to be the coach that I think that I am, that I'm driven to be. So Andy, on a year-to-year basis, I sit back and reflect, and I reflect on some of the awesome things that we've done, and I'd be lying to not say that I didn't watch that shot that UD made at the Giants Center maybe 100 times, but in general, like, when I'm all done, I think that's when I'm going to sit back and have a cigar and a bourbon and be like, man, what an awesome thing that we just did. But right now I'm still on the ride and motivated as ever. And, so I hope that answers it, man. But
yeah, no, that's good. All right. Now some fun questions. I'm going to get back to your roots here, some Lebanon County roots. I said you guys beat your rivals on your home floor this year for the section championship, but that's kind of a basketball-related rivalry that's taken shape. But there's another one that I know this audience that watches this is really keen on, and I'm talking about the Cedars. I'm just wondering, like, you guys play each other a lot, like a lot. And even, off season and when people aren't paying gates at the door and everything like that. And then with some of the tournaments you guys might match up in outside of the games the league says you have to play with the crossovers and stuff. Do you think that's ever a case where that game or that series, it might become like too much of a good thing, or is that sacrilegious to even suggest something like that?
No, you got a little bit, man. So when Tim and I took over, same year, we were playing one time. That was it. It was just in crossovers, and it was fantastic. And him and I, we got together and we're like, look, we need to do this more than once a year. So the goal was to do it twice, and then we ended up getting in each other's tournament, and then we were going to try to figure out a way that maybe we wouldn't match up in the tournaments, or if we would, it's definitely going to be in the championship game. And then don't you know it, we meet. Then we were in the same section there for a while, so we were playing a home and away. We were meeting each other's tournaments. We met in the league championship the one year. So I do think the game itself lost a little bit of luster. So now we're taking some stands to correct that. We're not going for next year. We're not going back to their tip tournament. So we've avoided that time. We won't play them there. We'll play, of course, in the crossover, and then they're going to come to our holiday tournament still. but we're still only going to play them possibly in the championship game if we would both get to that. So lost us lesser a little bit, I think, because we were playing so much. But again, there's not a time that I don't care where, if it's at Walnut Street or we're at South Hills, on the playground or summer league, that we're playing the red and the blue. It doesn't matter. And Tim will tell you the same thing. It doesn't matter. And so hopefully, by playing not so much brings a little bit back of the aurora of it. Just playing one time a year, the gym is packed. So.
Yeah. Now, I did the game last year when 4 came from the opposite end of the floor and blocked that shot against the padded back baseline. And I said, I think I told you after the game, I might have told Dell, I probably told the Twitter universe, I was like, I finally get it. Because that was the first game I ever did with you too, like football, whatever. And I was like, I finally get it. And that was arguably the best atmosphere I did all year for the last couple of years. So I got one more for him, boss man, but if you want to jump in.
Go ahead, buddy. Your show right now.
All right. So last one I have, and this will be a fun one, and I think you'll like this one. So Dell and I talk every year how it seems like you Lebanon County boys, you have like this, it's not even a chip, it's like a boulder on your guys' shoulders. I mean, tell me about what Lebanon County basketball does. I mean, I know you guys want to beat each other's brains in when you play each other, but there's a genuine love that I see when like Elko goes to states or whoever, or like once you guys go your separate ways, especially when you're playing Lancaster County, there's an extra special juice and satisfaction when you cross the county line and you bring one home with you. I mean, I want to ask the horse's mouth, is that a real thing? Like, is that real? I mean, tell me about it.
Hey, it's true, man. It's true. And, of course we have our county rivalries, but, they're not going to find a bigger fan of other county teams than me and my program. We want to see them be successful. I like to refer to it as a Lebanon Lancaster League lately, but that's not going to sit well. No, but again, you come over the mountain, and everyone wants to whoop us, and we're traveling. Most of our games are in Lancaster. We're traveling. We don't play another Lebanon team other than Lebanon, so we're traveling to Lancaster all the time, and most of the teams are from Lancaster. So we do have that chip on our shoulder. Every time teams come up to Cedar Crest, if they're going to beat us, I want them to walk out of our gym being, we just played a tough team, and and understand that's the mentality, and I think you get that across the board from a lot of the Lebanon County teams, from Lebanon to Elko, Anvil, Cleona, Palmyra in the mid-pen, a Lebanon County team. Again, you're coming to Lebanon County, and you're going to know you're here. So you get a win, you're going to walk out and understood that you earned this one. And when we come to you, understand we're coming to fight. And we got that chip on our shoulder, and we are representing Lebanon County. So yeah, you're right. It's good to see Lebanon County schools always doing these things lately. Elko's put a great run together. We've had some success. Our girls program has had some success, so again, any time that we're going down to Lancaster County and to Hempfield and McCaskey and Township, Warwick, we're bringing that chip. Sure are.
No, I love it. Like I said, it seems personal, and I don't know if it is, but if it is, I love it. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, politically correct or not. I love it. And I try and tell people from the Lancaster County, it's like, listen, you guys don't know what you're getting into when you play Lebanon County teams. Like, they want you, and it means something to them. So I love it. So keep it going. I said that Crest DNA is a real thing. I know you see that when I say that, and it's true. I wanted to get the inside scoop. That's all.
You got it. It is a real thing. I agree. Again, kind of take the community, hardworking community up here, and represent them, and that's across the board, Lebanon County. So yep. I bet Tim will tell you the same thing.
Yeah, I tell Andy, sometimes people give me a little grief about coverage and all that stuff. And it's like, why don't you cover Lebanon? I said, well, number one, I graduated from Anvil Cleona, so don't give me any grief like that. I know it's real. I know what it's all about. And when I first started coaching down here at Penn Manor, I used to call it the Lebanon-Lancaster League. I mean, that was just the way it was. Is Lebanon was first, Lancaster was second. So I talked to an old coach, Pat Mowry. I don't know if you know him. He was at Township. And we decided whoever wins the championship, that's what the league should be called the next year. So if Cedar Crest wins the champion, so next year it's going to be the Lebanon-Lancaster League. And, you know, if a Lancaster team wins, then it's going to be the Lancaster-Lebanon League. So what do you think, Coach Smith?
I like that. Hey, the 2020 and 2021 season, okay, you got the Lebanon-Lancaster League.
I definitely have to add that into the column. There's no doubt about that. None. Hey, a coaching question for you. You have had fantastic guards, and last year you had two big dudes, and it was different for you. So what adjustments did you have to make playing two big guys at the same time? Usually when we watch you play, it's like there's one big and there's four guards doing their guard thing. I mean, what adjustments did you have to look at going into the season for that particular setup this year?
Well, we still ran our four out. The nice thing was O'Leary had he had some guard skills that he could play on the outside when we would want to do our dribble drive. But one thing that we looked at, and we went to a 3-out, 2-in where we could take advantage of that size, and depending on mismatches. And late in the season, we went to it a lot more than we did early, just because it was a work in progress throughout the season until we were comfortable using it. But it was definitely some different things, a little bit trying to get some high-low stuff, and just different things like that. Give guys different looks and put those two bigs in positions to be successful, because again, we rode them, hard, and then the things that Eberhardt and O'Leary could do for us. But again, we didn't get too far out of our comfort zone and stuck with our dribble drive as our main offense. But definitely put two guys inside. We also been going to a little bit of this continuity ball screen stuff, which was nice and worked well for us as well, which I really like. So that helped them, especially with both of their skill sets, because Jason, for a big guy too, also handles the ball very, very well, and quite honestly, might be the best passer I've ever had. I mean, he just could pass the ball, and so putting him in pick and roll situations and understanding the game and being able to relocate to the right spot, that was a good offense for us as well. So a couple of wrinkles here and there. Don't get too far away from what I like to do, but yeah, we certainly did some 3-out, 2-in stuff and some of that continuity ball screen stuff.
I covered you 2 years ago. I think I was up there a lot. I was up there a lot this year to see you guys, and down here, both places. But it was kind of heartbreaking the year before, not this past year, but the year before, because you guys were like a basket away from doing this or doing that. How much did that build on this year? Like, you had a lot of kids coming back, and you're like, okay, we were a basket away, so you got to. How did you approach that, or didn't you approach it at all?
Yeah, we talked about it a lot, especially at some tough times. I was definitely heartbroken because Brody Dunlop and Logan Horn, who were just the backbones of that team, who were just fantastic kids, and they deserved to win. And, we lost to McCaskey at the buzzer. They made a buzzer beater, went down and lost at Penn Manor, had the game won and figured out a way to lose it. And then, of course, played the last game of the year, still with the chance to win the section against Township, and, missed a foul shot, as with no time on the clock to lose that game. So it was just heartbreaking for those guys who deserved to win a championship. And so we talked about it, just, remember what that felt like. That kind of motivated us all season, all preseason. And, just when times got tough, hey, you could always remind them of that. Remember how it happened last year. Remember what, so, it drove us this year. And again, we had tons of kids. Jason Eberhardt was, 3-year starter for me. He's been through the bullets. And even the year before when he was a sophomore, you know, effort to just kicked our butts in the league playoffs. And, you know, so there was a lot of, you know, penned up, you know, hostility in those seniors this year who've been through, you know, 2 really good seasons that didn't win jack, didn't have nothing to show for it other than, you know, a lot of wins, no championships.
Right.
You know, so that was their goal. Their goal is to put some numbers up on that banner this year. And, you know, it worked. Whatever, a little bit of that motivation helped us get through it.
Hey, I'm going to end on a good thing. We're running a little bit on time here, but I'm going to end on a good thing. So I know I stand there back there by your locker room after a win, and everybody's waiting to dance. So have you been working on your dance moves, Coach, or have you had the same dance moves for the last 3 years? That's what I want to know. It's crazy. It's so much fun.
It is a lot of fun. We have a no camera rule in the locker room, thank God, because if those ever got out, I'd be super embarrassed. But I should be working on my dance moves during this quarantine, but I haven't touched on them yet. But you know what? Now that you bring it up, maybe that's my next project. After I finish my stinking deck out here, I'm going to maybe work on my dance moves for after our wins next year.
I know I talked to your kids, and they're like, no, I got to go dance. I'll be back. You know, you got to talk to me later, but I got to go dance. And we wait our turn, and it's just like I just sit there. And it's great that you guys have so much fun. I love coming to Crest. The people treat me well. The AD treats me well. Your fans are fantastic. I love the alma mater. I think, I don't know, Andy, I think they're like the only school that does that in the LL. It's just kind of cool. You're in a great place. You're a great coach. You're a great interview. We thank you. Stay with it for another 10 years, please. And we'll try to stick around for 10 years too. Okay.
Awesome. Hey, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the kind words. You guys do a fantastic job covering the Langston Lebanon League. You know, you guys have put this league on the map, and I appreciate you, and I think I can speak for all the coaches. You guys do a wonderful job, so thank you. Keep it up, and I look forward to hearing from you guys and stay in touch.
All right, man. Be safe. Thanks, Coach.
Meet the Bluebird when this is all over.
All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Bluebird's there, baby. You got to love that. The Lebanon coach and the Crest coaches are commiserating over a win or a loss. It's awesome. It's awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Yeah,
See
man.
you. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.